He's getting older.
Phonorama!
Oh, hit the full button!
But not wiser.
Everybody has affinity for cock.
This is The Lefty Show.
Welcome, everybody, to The Lefty Show. I am your host, Lefty. Glad to be here with all of you for episode number 58. Hell yeah. Rolling through these sons of bitches. Episode number 58 of The Lefty Show. Today, Thursday, the 17th of July in the year of our Spaghetti Monster 2014. Welcome all to The Lefty Show. Thank you all for joining me. And I thank all of you for watching, that have been watching, liking, favoriting, and subscribing on YouTube. YouTube.com/LeftyOX is where you can go to find the show in its YouTube formation. Thank you to everybody that's been following me on Twitter. You want to stay up to date on Lefty News, Lefty Show News. Follow me on Twitter at Lefty643. Thank you to everybody that's been sharing the show and will share the show with friends, family, and coworkers. Easier to do now with an RSS feed. Go to leftyshow.podbean.com. Or if you're on Android, go to your favorite podcasting app, search The Lefty Show. Or if you equally want to help us climb the comedy charts ranks on iTunes, go to the iTunes store, search The Lefty Show. Find us there. Click on the image. You see it. You know it. You love it. Click on it, subscribe, and help us climb there. Download all the shows and leave a rating on the feed if you please. Thank you to everybody that's been donating. I'mRaising.com/643 productions. If you want to help keep the show afloat, that's where you can go. I'mRaising.com/643 productions. I watched an interesting video yesterday of I'm going to butcher this name, but Casey Catanzaro of American Ninja Warrior fame, a bit of a viral hit, the first woman to ever complete, at least in America, the American Ninja Warrior course, and she did it with ease. There was one or two stumbles, but it's, I forget how long the video is, but I watched it all, and I'm going to say this, but I want you to listen to my reasons why after I say what I'm about to say. Okay, so I'm going to say something, and you're going to have a reaction to it. But wait on that reaction until I completely tell you why. I hate Casey Catanzaro. I hate her. Hate her. Don't like it. Screw that. And here's why. Because from time to time in life, you will see in action, or you will hear about, and it's a lot more poignant if you see it, like on video, of somebody who's just better than you in an area. You see that somebody's just better than you. And whatever, it could be everything, it could be some things, it could be one thing. And you see somebody that's just got you beat. And you think, son of a bitch, this person has me beat in every way in this field. And I watched this Casey American Ninja Warrior video. I'm watching it, and I see she's 5 foot flat, 100 pounds, and I see one of the most incredible displays of athleticism that I've ever seen from a woman that's 5 feet tall and weighs 100 pounds. And I know in my heart of hearts, I just know it to be true, she, on her worst day, is more athletic than I can ever hope to be. She just has me and many other men, women, many other human beings just completely outclassed in terms of athleticism, strength to mass ratio, all this stuff. She can't bench 500 pounds, but she can climb she can pull herself up. She has enough force in her arms to lift her body while she's holding a bar and dislodge the bar from one rung of some kind of slot system and jump it up to the next one and climb up that way, what looked like more than 10 feet. And I was in awe of and you know when you see that and you see somebody that just has you out fucking classed. Now, I don't pretend to be athletic, but I go and I sit on the stationary bike for half an hour. I bike about 10 and a half miles, 11 miles. I go do a heavy bag routine, do some squats, push-ups, and then I go for a jog, run up a hill maybe. And I'm like, yeah, Yeah, woo, yeah, I did good today. Today was a good day. And then I watched Casey go through that fucking American Ninja Warrior course. And I got nothing. I have nothing for that. To see such an incredible display of athleticism that I will never even come close to replicating in any way. Never, ever will I ever come close to replicating that. And she's 5 foot nothing and 100 pounds, and she's just, yeah, this is just, and she did it with ease. She was just like, yeah, I did it. And she took her time. It was very calm about it. And I just look at that and damn it. Damn it. I feel so bad. I mean, it's incredible to watch, and congratulations. Okay, so if we can, because I know there's going to be people that don't really get it. I don't actually hate Casey Catanzaro. Okay, damn it, I'm fucking up this name. I don't hate this woman. I don't actually hate it. It was a bit to deprecate myself about how unathletic and flabby I am compared to this 5 foot nothing 100-pound woman who runs a course that men can't do. Completed a course that only a handful of men have been able to complete. And she just, I did it. I just did it. I'm going to run around here. I think it was 8 minutes, 9 minutes long video or something. And she just fucking kills it. Kills it. She did the equivalent of somebody on stage, American Idol, is that still the X Factor, America's Got Talent? Of a singer going out on stage and just belting out a song. Just absolutely killing a song. Kilt that song. Not killed, kilt. I tell you what, Stone Pony, kilt that ball. She kilt that course. And congratulations to her. It was an amazing feat of athleticism to watch. And just made me feel so incredibly inadequate. So incredibly inadequate as a human, as a male. And I don't know where that comes from. Where does that come from? Where my value, we'll talk a little bit later in the show. Maybe we do some news. We'll talk about some value stuff. Or maybe later in the monologue. We'll see. The entire show is a monologue. I act like there's different parts of it. Like, oh no, in the monologue section, then we start talking to other characters that don't really exist. But my value as a human is not wrapped up in my athleticism. I'm not a hunter-gatherer. I don't have to go out and hunt. I go looking for food at the supermarket. Like, oh, when am I going to get here? But I'm not out on the plains trying to find the antelope or the buffalo to kill and eat and bring back to sustain myself. I don't have any of that in me, and my existence as a human in society is not really at all tethered to my athleticism. So then why should I even care that there's a 5 foot even 100-pound woman who is just incredibly more athletic than I could ever hope to be? Why do I care? Why is my brain even thinking to go, hey, you should care about this. This should offend your sensibilities because you can never be this. Why do I care? I shouldn't care. I should not care. I should just be able to, I salute. Good for you, Casey. Good for you, right? And not have a care in the world about my crushing disparities in terms of athleticism relative to this girl, who was, in my defense though, she was a gymnast. Okay, all right. Those people tend to be pretty fucking strong. But I shouldn't care. I should, yeah, good for you. Yeah, that's pretty cool. All right, I'm gonna go, crank one out now. See you in 35 seconds. 4 minutes. Never mind. I should be able to do that, but I don't. Why do we have, and I relate, it's got to be related to the cock size thing. Men, for some reason, want to have this aura about them like they've got a gigantic schlong. Why? Why does none of us are hunter-gatherers. Even if you play sports in high school, even if you have some social stature because you are an athlete, odds are that's not your contribution to society. Your contribution to society lies elsewhere. You're going to go and do other things. You play football now, or you play soccer now, you're really good at it now, and that's great, good for you, but odds are you are not going to rise to the top and be one of those people that, quote, contributes to society or the entertainment of society with their athletic prowess. like gymnasts do, like football players, soccer players, rugby players in parts of the world, cricket players in parts of the world. You're not going to do that. Your value, you have social stature now, but your value as a human, your value as a cog in the wheel or as a tugboat trying to move SS human experience is not at all, even if you are athletic and even if you do play sports now, not at all tied to your athleticism. But we still care. Your value as a human, your value as a cog in the wheel, as a tugboat on SS human experience is not tied to the size of your dick. Odds are, unless you're in porn, odds are the size of your cock doesn't really matter. So why do we waste time caring, feeling despair, feeling angst, feeling bad about things the athleticism you can kind of control, but only up to a certain point. When I was a kid, when I was growing up, I was really into baseball. Played it a lot. In high school, I was pretty good on the freshman baseball team, and then I took 2 years off, and then was able to get myself back in shape and walk back on to my varsity team my senior year in high school. And I played a lot of baseball, played a lot of travel ball, I did the whole thing. I played youth baseball. I didn't play Little League because that's copyrighted, that's trademarked, that's a thing. I didn't play that. I played youth baseball, and I was pretty good. I was pretty good. It was to the point where there was, when I was 18 years old, I believe it was the last year before I left for college, I was playing in a youth baseball league because I always had a younger birthday. I was actually only 17 years old. Many of the guys were 18, but still were able to play. And I was pitching, left-handed pitcher, of course, and there was I was dealing that day. I was just on. I was clicking, firing, and there was a lightning strike in the area, and this was around the time when those lightning pod things were being introduced. If the atmospheric conditions were right, so says the sensor in a large open field, it starts making an awful squawking noise, and everybody's supposed to seek cover and get off the field and blah, 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 blah. So that happened. And I was pitching. It was right in the middle of an inning, and then it happened. And so I grabbed my stuff. We were walking towards a gazebo in the middle of the complex, and I just so happened to be walking next to the home plate umpire. Now, this was, again, we were 17 years old, so he had the full garb on. I mean, we're not playing Major League Baseball here, but kids were throwing hard. Like, this is a good skill level of baseball, much farther removed from Little League or anything like that. Like, these people were serious. And I was walking next to him. He said, "You're the pitcher, right?" And I said, "Oh yeah." And he said, "Man, you are dealing right now." He says, "If I had to guess, you're throwing 88 miles an hour." I was like, 88 miles an hour? And I said, "Oh, thank you." He said, "Man, your cut fastball, it's moving. Your curveball is just incredible." I said, "Oh, thank you very much." And he said, "Man, where are you going to school?" And I was like, "Oh, well, I'm not going to play." I couldn't. He's like, "Oh, that's all da 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 da." And it was at that time that I realized I had to come to terms with the fact that despite the fact that I was wowing this guy with my prowess, despite wowing this guy with my, it's not pure athletic ability, but it's athletic-like ability, despite doing that, I have to come to terms with the fact that for whatever reason, I'm not tall enough, I don't have the mechanics, I don't have the hip strength, I don't have the tendons in my shoulder and elbow are just not tense tight enough. I will not be able to continue past this point. I won't be able to do it. I'll try, and I did try, didn't make it, but I have to come to terms with the fact that despite how hard I worked, despite the fact that I was able to walk back onto the varsity team, which is a pretty big deal after taking 2 years off, despite all that, I had to come to terms with the fact that, okay, it's time to do something else now. Baseball was fun. I was good at it, relatively speaking, but not good enough. And then I got hurt, my shoulder, and bunch of stuff. So I couldn't even continue even if I wanted to. Even if I wanted to try to squeeze as much out of my shoulder and elbow as I could, it just wasn't going to happen. And I had to be okay with that. And I had to say, okay, this is just not going to happen. I had fun. I had a lot of fun. It was a great bonding thing for my father and grandfather and I when I was a really young guy, young pup, as they say. It was a lot of fun. I have a lot of memories. I had a lot of fun, made a lot of friends. It's time to make peace with the fact that this is no more. That this isn't going to continue. That I am not going to, because every kid in America that ever steps onto a baseball field one day imagines at some point, hey, what would it be like to be like those guys on TV and play Major League Baseball? Oh, that'd be so cool. Or if there's a local minor league team around you, you go watch that and you think, oh man, I could do that. I could hang with these guys. And everybody thinks that, but at some point you have to have that discussion with yourself, unless you're crazy. Because there are guys that still wear the high school Letterman jacket at 35 years old, like, yeah, man, I was the fucking state champs, bro. And say, all right, what do you do now? Well, I drive a forklift. Oh, okay. So you're still living in it? Yeah, we're in high school champs. Yeah, that was 25 years ago, pal, or 20 years ago. Chill out. And you're going to have to make peace with the fact, for many of you it's going to be fact, that you're not going to be able to continue what you do athletically. Your value is probably not tied to your athleticism. You got other things. You got other things to offer, other things that you can work on, other things that you can conquer, master, and bring to the table. But athleticism isn't going to be it. You can still be athletic if you want. It's totally up to you. If you want to have the rock-hard abs because you like it, okay, sure, go for it. But it's okay to, oh, well, yeah, all right, well, it's time to move on from this, I guess. I don't need to be able to, because why the fuck should I care that this woman is able to monkey climb up all these crazy things and do all these crazy things athletically? Why should I care? It's not like I wake up in the morning and to get out of bed, I have to shimmy up like two adjoining walls nearly and shimmy up them to get to the top. That's not how I have to get out of bed in the morning. I don't have to climb across a bunch of things. I don't have to jump to a cargo net and climb a cargo net to get to my PC to start recording a show. None of the things I saw that had me in awe of this young woman's athleticism have any bearing on my life. There's not even close would I do anything like in that video. So why do I even care that, holy shit, this person has such dominance athletically relative to what we both could be, and I could never be that? Why should I care? I shouldn't care. I should not really care at all. My value, I think, I hope, is best served elsewhere. And speaking of value, I had a bit of a bit yesterday in yesterday's show where I talked about capitalism and and how long-term serving humanity, capitalism, probably not the best way to go. And there's honestly a person, a live, breathing, thinking, probably voter, who said capitalism is the be-all, end-all for making our lives better. That's a direct quote. Quote, capitalism is the be-all, end-all for making our lives better, end quote. And just some contrarian guy, you know. You fly the intellectual flag in any society, and somebody's going to have to try to measure their dick against you, and it just comes off as rampant contrarianism just because, oh, well, okay, pal. All right. Good for you. Good for you. I hope you feel good. Yeah, oh yeah, you got a big swinging dick there. Yeah, good for you. Yeah, you won in the YouTube comment section, my friend. But it was remarkable because whenever you talk about capitalism, and capital, look, I'll say it right now, free market capitalism isn't going to work. It won't work with humans. It won't work. And by work, I define work as getting us closer to, or allowing us all to have a reasonable opportunity and reasonable expectation of bettering our lives, not utopia necessarily, but leading healthy, fruitful existences in which we have a certain amount of time for ourselves that we can do to better ourselves, whether that be artistically, intellectually, academically, athletically, whatever. The American dream. Free market capitalism isn't going to make that happen. True free market capitalism, not going to work. Because humans are likewise, when you put money on the table, greedy, weaselly cocksuckers. And Milton Friedman lived in the halls of academe. As much as you love old Milton over there, hey, Milton, how are you? He's like, oh, yay, I know all these things. You talking about me? No, Eugene, you dick. No way. Yeah, you still didn't fix the thing. Yeah, I know, I didn't fix the fucking door yet, son of a bitch. But as much as you look, it's not going to work with humans because we're greedy cocksuckers. And if you look anywhere, you will see that we are greedy cocksuckers that will abuse freedoms given to us or power given over other people. And you need to protect those that can't argue or bargain effectively for themselves. Yeah, it works on paper. If we were all computers, true free market capitalism would work. We're not. We're greedy, weaselly cocksuckers when there's money or, quote, value on the table. We're greedy, weaselly cocksuckers because we've all been raised that way. And here's the point about value. The reason I believe we are greedy is because we have first of all, there's the animalistic stuff, but also our entire sense of value is wrapped up in things. We don't really have, as much as I rip on art is probably the closest we can get to having an abstract sense of value, valuing something in the abstract. Otherwise, our entire sense of value is wrapped up in things, or if it's not things, a medium of exchange with which to get things, money. Our entire sense of value wrapped up in money and things. And how much do you have versus how much he has or she has, or how much you had versus how much you have now. We are a society truly of have and have-nots, and that's how we determine our value. And that is why when the chips are down and the oversight of non-interested third parties is removed, we will immediately default to greedy, weaselly cocksuckers who will try to fuck the other guy out of his money as best we can. That's what we do. Now, capitalism won't work because, again, it ingrains in us a tendency towards being greedy and weaselly. Now, imagine as hard as it might be, imagine living and not having a concept of value tied to things or money or anything like that. Value is what you make for yourself. Value is what you do for yourself, how you better yourself, or how you better or contribute to society. Imagine a world where everybody has that base view of any kind of value, any kind of worth. Is not wrapped up in things, but about what you do with things, or what you do. Things become completely utilitarian. I was looking at my phone the other day and I realized, I like this phone. It's awesome. It's amazing. I said, wait a minute. That's me tying value and self-worth to this device. It's not utilitarian anymore. It's about my own expression. It's about my own sense of having. If I actually were able to view value as just simply what I can contribute or what I can do for others, things like phone, clothes, computers would just be utilitarian things. They would just be devices through which or with which I can do whatever it is I actually find valuable. But we find value in the device itself, in the instruments, in the things themselves. Say, oh, I got a big bad PC. Check that shit out. That wouldn't matter if what we actually valued was what you could do with that PC, with that hardware. No, this PC allows me to better convey my message or my whatever it is. And I guess what I'm talking about is communism. I think that's basically the idea, is that you remove all the toils and troubles of everyday life. Who cares what car you have or what apartment block you live in? You just get it, and that's it. And you get your food, and worry about other things. Your job is to value not these material things, but these other things, contributing to the greater good and all the things that go with that. And you pride yourself on being the best factory manager you can be, not because you get paid money and bonuses and all the things or stock options as a result, but because being the best factory manager is the best thing for everybody. And it didn't. And I know somebody's like, well, it didn't work. Yeah, ha, 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 ha. See, capitalism wins. Well, no, because not everybody's playing out of the same playbook. We all have to jump in, which is why it will never, ever happen. I mean, come on. I am nothing if not a realist or realistic in my expectations. I know that the utopian Star Trek-like society is never, ever going to happen. It won't. It can't. Because we would all have to collectively lay down our right or our entire concept of value wrapped up in things and assets. We would have to give all that up. And there would have to be people that say, yes, I am on the top of our society right now, but I will give all of that up so that we can start anew. And it will never, ever happen. We're on this course, and we just got to hope that we can make the best of what we've got. However, I disagree. Communism would never work. Say, well, hold on a second. I disagree because, and this is the weird way I make it make sense in my head, being Amish, the Amish way of life would work. The Amish way of life would work as a society. That would work on a large enough scale. Imagine if the entire planet were Amish. It's just Amish people everywhere, churning butter and building barns and going to prayer and calling each other Mordecai. If everybody was Amish, we would have a pretty decent society. We'd be living in the fucking in the industrial or pre-industrial age, but everybody would kind of be like, we'd all come together to help raise barns and to churn butter and make bread and feed each other and tend to crops, and we would all have a pretty nice life if everybody was Amish. If everybody was Amish and there was no such thing as not Amish. If there was no such thing as an outside, not Amish way of life, we'd be pretty good. We'd be set. We got everything we need. And we don't want too much. We don't need too much, and we police ourselves. It's nice. But the Amish people are dying because what they're doing is they're having kids, and the kids are growing up in the information age, and it's easier in the 1920s to pretend like you're living in the 1840s. It's easier, not completely doable, but it's easier to pretend like you're living in the Stone Age when not really that much information being thrown about. A lot more than 50 years ago in the 1920s, but certainly not now. Now, in today's society, with the prevalence of information and how things get back and forth and everybody's everywhere all the time, Amish children are being exposed to non-Amish culture, and they like it. They say, ooh, this is different. Ooh, you mean I could just go to the store and buy butter? Instead of having to churn it for hours, you mean I could just call a contractor and they come in and they will build me a barn, and I don't have to spend 14 hours a day doing it myself with my hands and my smelly Mordecai brothers? Holy shit, this is amazing. Oh, cars? What is this? What is this car thing you have? This is amazing. And they're leaving the Amish lifestyle because outside of the Amish society, which works if everybody is Amish, when you expose people to an outside way of life, which is different, not necessarily inherently better, but certainly different, they say, oh, different, this is cool. And I think that's what happened with communism, or one of the things that happened with communism. Of course, there's, Leninism, which was just a bastardization of Marxism. But in a communist society, if everybody was communist and we actually adhered to communism, well, there'd be some pretty nice things going on. Maybe, probably, because we'd have nobody to fight with. There would be nobody else. It's like, our way of life is different and better. And communists like, no, you're not. Stop fucking with us. And we're like, no, capitalism and freedom for all. It's like, people are kind of free. What the fuck? Leave us alone. We don't believe in God and we want to go with a secular society. Leave us the fuck alone. And, no, freedom. Let freedom ring. Fuck. And there are people that aspired to be more than factory managers, and they, when exposed to a society where people valued things, they say, wait, you can value these things and you can get these things on your own and you can measure your worth by these things? And these things are tangible and they're real and I can hold them and touch them, and my worth in bettering the motherland is some kind of abstract nebulous idea. And, I like this thing. I can hold this thing in my hand. This gold brick I can hold in my hand. But a theoretical expression of value in the form of helping the common good, I like the gold brick. I like that. And so you had a lot of people bleeding away, and there was a lot of pressure to go to a non-communist way of life. If everybody in our society adhered to one ideology, that would be pretty good. Fuck, here, I'm going to blow your minds right now. You ready? If everybody read the 10 Commandments and lived by the 10 Commandments, just by the 10 Commandments, if everybody lived that way, not that they believed in God or prayed in God, and those are all things that follow after. If everybody just read the 10 Commandments from the Bible, the King James Bible, I don't know if they got revised. I don't know if King James has touched the 10 Commandments or changed them at all. But if everybody read, if we could all say, these are the 10 Commandments from some version of the Bible, we're all going to do this, and everybody said yes, we'd have a pretty decent society. It wouldn't be that bad. There's lots of good morals portrayed in the Bible. There's a lot of bad stuff, too, that we don't want to talk about that. But there's some good. Don't covet thy neighbor's wife. Right? If you interpret it from, yeah, okay. Thou shalt not kill. Pretty good idea. I like that. Good one. Yeah. Okay. And all the things you go down and down and down, and then you realize that when you just look at the list in a vacuum, that society would be pretty decent. Pretty decent. And if everybody adhered absolutely to those rules, probably a damn good society. Not bad. So to say, oh, wow, see, these other ways of life don't work because look at how they failed. Well, no, because everybody needs to have the same starting point. You can't have differing ideology. It's not a competition. You can't put one next to the other and say, all right, who's going to win? Let's see which one is standing in 1,000 years. Who's going to win? That doesn't work, because there are going to be people from both sides. People from both sides, because there were Americans that looked at communism and were like, that's pretty good. I like that. Having to show up and work for the man all the time. Shit. All right, I'm going to head on to Cuba or to Vladivostok. That's where I'm going to go. Not as many, but on the flip side, there were Russians who were like, oh, I like these things you have. You have the money. I like the money. The money is good. It buys much black bread. I like this. Let us go. Come, Miralai. We go to America. And you have differing ways of life. Not inherently better or worse than the other. Capitalism versus communism, one is not inherently better or worse than the other. Inherently, I mean. If you want to talk about accomplishing different goals, that's when you get into better or worse. But not one better or worse inherently than the other. And there's cross-pollination. The grass is always greener on the other side. You look at America from communist Russia and you say, oh, that looks pretty neat. Or if you're like similarly minded, you look from America to communist Russia and go, oh man, what are they doing over there? That's cool. Let's go do that. So I disagree with any notion that, oh, well, capitalism is clearly the best way to go about. What kind of simplistic way to go about thinking, reasoning is that? Capitalism is the best because My value is completely tied up in tangible things. All right. If that's the kind of society you want, okay. But I still don't think that it makes it, again, and I'm speaking more to this one guy, okay? And I made a big deal about this in the last show, but I don't know if people caught on, okay? Profit motive is what is driving Elon Musk and SpaceX, okay? Profit motive is what is driving private industry, private capitalist industry to go into space right now, okay? All right? They are 60 years behind the federal government. 60 years behind the federal government in results. 60 years. Private industry has been around pretty much as long as the federal government has. And the federal government 60 years ago decided, let's start launching satellites and going into space and doing all these things. Why? Because we want to beat the Russians. That's why. No profit motive. Fuck it. Let's just do it. Let's just do it because we want to, again, there's no monetary, no profit from beating the Russians other than just we get to tell our people, look at us beat the fucking Russians. Yeah. It's not... Going into space and hemorrhaging money into NASA to go into space was not capitalistic. It was not a very smart or efficient way to go about spending capital or spending revenue generated from taxes and all the not a smart way to go about doing it. But we did it. The government did it, and they did it well. So well that private industry is 60 fucking years behind. Only now are private corporations venturing out into space. Only now. Irreverent government spending, which is not, I believe, a capitalistic ideal, irreverent government spending beat the shit out of private, profit-driven corporations. Beat the shit out of them. 60 fucking years. But sure, go ahead and say, oh, the best way to go into space is to make it private industry. Okay, all right, fine. Well, the flag still, which is now bleached white, the flag flying on the moon and the lunar rover and the LEM still, or the lower half of the LEM still standing on the moon. Yeah, they beg to differ, my friend. They really beg to differ. And speaking of differing views, Anthony Cumia finally released a video announcing the launching of his website and show coming August 4th. Anthony Cumia, formerly of Opie and Anthony, and I believe at anthonycumia.com, is going to be doing a live broadcast podcast subscription-driven, and it will launch August 4th. So I know a lot of people have been wondering what's going to happen to Anthony, what's going to happen to Opie and Anthony. Well, Anthony, for now, is going to be running a show from his home. I saw tweeted pictures of the set. It looks really fucking cool. I want some of that tech. And Opie and Jim Norton are being held hostage, so to speak, by SiriusXM. Opie and Anthony continues without Anthony, and I don't think that's a really smart move by SiriusXM to hold them hostage like that. Because what you do immediately when you break up Opie and Anthony, whatever your reasoning for it, when you break up Opie and Anthony and Jim Norton, or Opie and Jim Norton, they're like, okay, well, we're going to go with, and you say, no, you're going to play out your contract. What you do immediately when you do that is you create a disgruntled on-air personality. And if anybody is familiar with Steve Dahl and Steve Dahl's history in terrestrial radio, giving shock jocks, turning them into disgruntled employees and employees by force or by threat of force, they're going to fuck with you. They're going to find ways to fuck with you. They're going to find ways to do things that you end up not liking, that end up hurting you in the long run. Steve Dahl did it a lot. And you're going to do that with Jim Norton and Opie. Opie's going to figure out ways. They're going to figure out ways to fuck with you, Sirius. And I don't know if you see that coming. That's what you do when you fuck with somebody. They're going to fuck with you back. You can't just threaten contract litigation and then expect the two guys who their friend left and is now doing his own show and probably going to make a lot of money from it. You can't hold them hostage and say, oh, no, you got to do it now. They're going to find a way to fuck with you. And it should be interesting if you haven't canceled your Sirius XM. I think it might be interesting to wait and listen, because those two guys are going to find out ways to fuck with Sirius XM. And when you put two shock jocks, or when you have the shock jock and Opie and the shock comedian and Jim Norton, when you put those two heads together with the common goal of let's fuck with Sirius XM while we're doing a show for them under under legal gunpoint, let's fuck with them. This is gonna be great. We're gonna have all kinds of crazy shit going on. And then the contract will be over. They won't re-up, and they'll join Anthony on the Anthony Cumia show, or it'll be rebranded into probably Opie and Anthony again. So Anthony Cumia returning to the broadcast world with on August 4th with AnthonyCumia.com. I thought that was interesting, and I'm looking forward to it, honestly. I don't know how much it's going to be. I know Steve Dahl does $9.99 a month or $99 a year for his subscription podcast, and I haven't taken the plunge there, and I don't know if I take the plunge on Anthony Cumia's. I'm just not sure. I need to know how much it is, because I got other bills. It's not like, is Anthony Cumia really worth it for his show? No, it's I got bills to pay, motherfucker. I don't know. I got other things that I got to pay for, and as much as I love Anthony Cumia and I love his sound and his voice and his shtick and his shtick and bit, as much as I like it, I got other things going on. So I don't know. Maybe we can get an Anthony Cumia sponsorship or something. Give me some free access to the show. Let's do some news. Got a lot of great things to talk about today. News in the Lefty Show. Breaking news, Malaysia Airlines lost another one. They can't find it. They don't know. No, they do know, and it's actually pretty sad. Tragic. Kentucky boy, there we go, finally got it right, is raped after his church hires a sex offender pastor. An Arizona politician mistakes a bus full of YMCA kids for undocumented immigrants. The EEOC comes out with some tougher rules on paternity and maternity leave, and extends it to men as well. The death penalty is ruled unconstitutional in California. It's the news with Lefty. Let's talk about. All right, so the breaking news is Malaysia Airlines flight MH17, I believe it is, shot down on over the Ukraine, and it was there's 200. Let's see. 15 crew members, and I believe 290 people on board. The 777 owned by Malaysia Airlines, and brought down over the Ukraine. They believe, reports are that it was shot down. There's reports of Buk missile systems being reported in the area. People are claiming that they did it, but then there's other people releasing audio that they claim the Russians are claiming it, and nobody really knows what's going on. They know that there's supposed wreckage, which hasn't been confirmed, that it's flight MH17 from Malaysia Airlines. Malaysia Airlines can only confirm that they have lost contact with the plane, their second in a couple months. And nobody really knows what's going on. Everybody presumed dead, and the reason for the crash, or suspected crash, is suspected to be being shot down. So a lot of people are talking about that. And, I remarked, first of all, that as a society, we do pretty well for ourselves in strapping a bunch of us into a gigantic aluminum tube and sending it up in the air 30,000 feet in the air at 500 miles an hour. We do pretty well. I mean, this tragedy aside, and hearts go out to friends and family members of passengers and crew, but we're not that bad at it. I mean, we lost MH370, we lost MH17, we TWA 800, and there's 9/11. But I don't think you can chalk up all the deaths on 9/11 to air traffic, to problems with air travel. I don't think that's fair. It's like in the DUI traffic incident reporting system, where if I'm drunk and I'm sitting at a stoplight and I'm just perfectly fine, but I'm technically legally drunk, leave my friend alone, officer. He's legally drunk. If I'm sitting at a stoplight legally drunk, and you just come up behind me, no brakes, nothing, hit me doing 40, that is a crash that involves alcohol. So when you hear the statistic of, oh, well, so many crashes in America involve alcohol, or so many fatal crashes in America involve alcohol, you're not actually hearing how many crashes or fatal crashes are caused, actually, in the meta sense, caused by alcohol. You're hearing about the ones in which alcohol was believed to be involved. If there's empties sitting on the floor bed of my truck when I get hit or roll over in a storm, alcohol was involved. That's how this is. So I don't think you can chalk up 9/11 deaths, all the 9/11 deaths. You can chalk up the passengers and crew on the planes to air travel, but I don't think the rest of them. I don't think that's statistically speaking fair. But when you look at the whole of it, in terms of if you fly, how likely are you to die? We're pretty good. We get shot down, and if there's a problem in flight, well, fuck, man. That's some serious business. I mean, it's a very tenuous position when you're sitting in a plane. If something goes wrong, odds are it's going to go really wrong, which is why, I'm hesitant when around people who say, well, flying is the safest form of travel. I say, well, hold on a second. So it's safer than driving a car. I say, well, hold on. As somebody who's been in 3 car accidents, let me tell you, when I'm in a car accident, odds are I'm going to be able to live through it. If just your random plane accident, odds are you're fucking engulfed in a gigantic fireball of death. That's the odds. I mean, you just have to hope something doesn't go wrong. You can survive something going wrong in a car crash. You're really not going to survive something going wrong at 35,000 feet. It's just not going to happen. So don't try to tell me, oh, it's safer. Well, yeah, if something doesn't go wrong. But when it goes wrong, it goes fucking really wrong. Landing in the Hudson notwithstanding. So we're not bad at it. This might cause trepidation in the hearts of many about air travel, but when you look at just the sheer number of deaths, I mean, considering that they're in a gigantic flying aluminum tube going 500 miles an hour, 35,000 or 32,000 feet in the air, holy shit, man. We're not bad at it. That's one of the things. Society's kind of cool. Pretty cool. I mean, we're, again, like I said in the earlier portion of the show, when the stakes are down, when the chips are down and money's on the table, or value, which we tie a lot of value to money, or in our self-worth to money, we become greedy, weaselly cocksuckers. But we do some cool shit. We've got flying aluminum tubes that we put a lot of people in, and this shit goes wrong and bad shit happens like this, and it is tragic. Don't confuse my comedic tone with not thinking that it's important to understand what's going on and to find out why and punish those responsible. Don't mistake the two. Don't get it twisted. This is wrong and bad and sad, but you got to be able to look at the bright side of things once in a while. And despite these things, despite MH370, despite MH17, we're pretty good at creating flying aluminum tubes, gigantic aluminum tubes, just on JP fuel, or what is it? Is it JP1? Is that the fuel mixture? Whatever avionic fuel is, jet engine fuel. Oh my God. And they're just burning that, compressing it, and just creating thrust, and it's going 500 fucking miles an hour with 35,000 feet in the air, and we don't kill ourselves all the time. It's not some of the time, but not all the time. And in this instance, it looks as though it was not the fault of if the idea of an explosion is to be believed, a missile is to be believed. It looks as though this is not the fault of Malaysian Airlines or Boeing or the passengers or the crew or anything like that. This is just a bunch of people upset about some silly things on the ground shooting missiles at innocent people, and that's wrong. And the reason that it has to be, and this is the one thing I got that was good from the 24-hour news cycle. I'm not a fan of it because it creates a lot of rampant bullshit speculation. There's not a lot of facts reporting. There's just a guy saying, oh, Reuters is reporting this, and then also somebody reporting this, and then here's tweets from these people that we don't know, but we're putting them up in fucking primetime, and everybody's got eyes on this thing, and we're saying, here's airplane wreckage. Oh, my goodness. Yeah. Oh man, no, that looks like explosions. Oh my God, explosions. They lead to witch hunts. They lead to stupid things. The 24-hour news cycle is what absolutely ruined the lives of possibly grieving brown people in the Boston area. If you'll remember, in the wake of the Boston Marathon bombing, there was a witch hunt enacted in part on Reddit and also in part on the national news media, the New York Post and CNN and all these people, where all of a sudden somebody thought they found one of the people, and it was a picture of some kid. And they plastered it all over, plastered it on the news everywhere. Oh my fucking God, we got him! And it turned out that the guy was missing, and his family had been looking for him for, I believe, over a year. He was a student at Brown University, I want to say. And just up and disappeared, and his family had been looking for him, hoping that he was alive. And then here come Reddit crusading neckbeards and production managers at CNN, wading into this family's personal life and absolutely torturing them once again. That's why I don't like the 24-hour news cycle, because bullshit like that happens, and it happens way too often. And when you're forced to have 24 hours of content ready to go all the time, and you're competing against Fox News and MSNBC and Al Jazeera and RT, and when you have 24 hours, 7 days a week to fill, you're going to say and do dumb things. You're going to cease reporting facts or independently confirming facts, and then and only then reporting them. Bob Woodward and Bernstein in what was it, the 60s or 70s, they had to independently confirm everything, double confirmation before they could run any story. That was the level of news reporting at one point in time. You want to run this fact in front of people, in front of the eyes of our readers, of our consuming public, you have to confirm it from two independent sources. It has to be confirmed twice. Now, Reuters is reporting that blah, 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 and that's on the fucking CNN. Front and center. Reuters is reporting this. No independent confirmation of any kind. Just Reuters is reporting this. Here's tweets of the wreckage. And you get stupid fucking bullshit. The 24-hour news cycle is killing the reporting industry. It's all sensationalized. It's all conjecture. It's not confirmed, solid facts as nearly as much as it should be. However, the one good thing to come of it was there was an aviation expert on the phone, and they said, well, flying from, if this is MH17, it had a flight plan filed from Amsterdam to, I forget where I was going, from Amsterdam to somewhere else. When it was over the area in which it was believed to have gone down, it would have been at its full altitude profile. It would have been at 33,000 feet. That's where it would have been. And so I took that fact and I said, oh, okay, well, that's an interesting fact. You see? Thank you. But then it was mired in fucking just conjecture and is this terrorism? Blah, 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 bullshit. An actual fact to help people reason through this. But then you cover it up with all kinds of bullshit, sensationalize and graphics and all the things. And it looks as though that it had to be, if it was a missile, it looks as though it had to be some kind of military grade, or hardcore heavy-duty military surface-to-air missile system, not a shoulder-fired, one of the shoulder-fired things you see in video games all the time, because those missiles, shoulder-fired, only have an altitude envelope of about, I think the maximum I saw was 18,000 feet, which is a little bit more than half of what the plane should have been at the time. The only thing that could reach, the only surface-to-air missile system that could reach to reach a commercial airliner at its in-flight altitude, would be an actual military surface-to-air missile site, a surface-to-air missile system, not just like a shoulder-fired pseudo-rocket. So MH17 apparently shot down. We don't know. The 24/7 news cycle just absolutely absolutely sucks. In other good news having to do with death, the death penalty has been ruled unconstitutional in the state of California. A federal judge ruled California's death penalty unconstitutional Wednesday, writing that lengthy and unpredictable delays have resulted in an arbitrary and unfair capital punishment system. California has not executed a prisoner since 2006. The decision by U.S. District Judge Cormac J. Carney represents a legal victory for those who want to abolish the death penalty in California and follows a similar ruling that has suspended executions in the state for 8 years. Since the current death penalty system was adopted by California voters 35 years ago, more than 900 people have been sentenced to death, but only 13 have been executed. Quote, as for the random few for whom execution does become a reality, they will have languished for so long on death row that their execution will serve no retributive or deterrent purpose and will be arbitrary, the judge stated. The case was brought by a death row inmate against the warden of San Quentin State Prison, Carney ruled, warden of San Quentin State Prison. Carney ruled that California's death penalty is an empty promise and violates the Eighth Amendment's protection against cruel and unusual punishment. Quote, inordinate and unpredictable delay has resulted in a death penalty system in which very few of the hundreds of individuals sentenced to death have been or even will be executed by the state, wrote Carney, a George W. Bush appointee. He noted that the death penalty appeals can last decades, and as a result, most condemned inmates are likely to die of natural causes before their executions are carried out. Gil Garcetti, a former Los Angeles County District Attorney who has become an anti-death penalty activist, called the ruling truly historic. Quote, further proves that the death penalty is broken beyond repair, he said, calling for capital punishment to be replaced with life in prison without the possibility of parole. And it never occurred to me. The case was never sufficiently made, at least for me, as to why the death penalty is in any way a good idea. In any way, state-sponsored murder, which is what it is, state-sponsored murder is not good. It's not good. If only for the fact that murder is illegal unless the state does it, and then it's okay. Because then I have to, well, war is illegal unless a sovereign nation enacts war. So a freedom fighter is illegal. A freedom fighter is committing a high treason. But a National Guardsman called in to deal with something, and National Guardsmen start shooting at civilians. Well, that's war. That's an act of a sovereign nation. That's not a war crime. That's not high treason. That's just somebody doing with it. And also contributing to that is the fact that our system doesn't work all the time. The justice system does not work. And if you are going to end somebody's life, end somebody's consciousness because of crimes you allege they committed upon society or upon individuals, if you're going to let them languish in prison with the ultimate promise of executing them and ending their consciousness, you better be fucking sure that 100% of the time you get the right guy. 100% of the time you get the right guy no matter what. And we don't have that. Our justice system is not, it's supposed to be set up so that guilty men may go free so that not one innocent man is put behind bars, but we convict innocent people of crimes all the fucking time. So it stands to reason that eventually, if it has not happened already, eventually we are going to put somebody on death row who didn't actually commit the crime, and we are going to end a person's consciousness, deprive them of life, not just liberty, not just the pursuit of happiness. We are going to deprive them of life because of a fuck up. And that can't happen. We can't have that. That's not a good road to go down. And there's no doubt in my mind that there's been executions, state-sponsored executions in America for probably a century. Maybe even more. We've been doing hangings for a long-ass time. There's no doubt in my mind that our court system got at least one of it wrong. Well, there was one man or woman put to death who was very truly innocent of the crime placed upon them. And that's wrong. That nullifies the entire system in its entirety. It's void now. You get one wrong and it voids the entire thing because when our society is based on a concept of rule of law and accountability for government and we are guaranteed the pursuit of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, when those things are guaranteed, You cannot have a system in which, well, we fucked that one up and we killed a guy. Yeah, we killed him and yeah, we fucked that one up. It can't happen. It undermines everything you try to do. It'd be like saying, honey, I promise not to cheat on you. I promise. Unless she's a hot blonde with blue eyes and D-cup tits. Then I get a blowjob. And that's it. But you don't tell her, honey, I will never cheat on you. You say, well, how many, she was the perfect one. She had blue eyes, blonde hair, D-cup tits, and I got a blowjob. That's okay. That's the exception that we allow. Now, you can't go around fucking other people. No. No. That's grounds for me divorcing your ass. But in this one instance, because she was really hot, sweetheart. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my good booty like plow. I was all over it. In that one instance. And this just one. I won't do it all the time. But we had to do it there. Would that fly? No, it fucking wouldn't fly. Of course not. So you can't make murder illegal and then reserve murder for states. And on top of the fact, you get shit wrong. We get shit wrong. It's set up so that the only wrongs that would be you don't convict guilty parties. But fuck that. We're just gonna screw that crap. Screw it. We just want to start putting people in prison. Fuck them. The prison industry employs a lot of people. Oh, we're privatizing it now. Ho, yeah. Screw that. Let's just put people in prison again. And you can't have a system in which innocent people are put to death, deprived of the first one, life. And that's just not. It's not cool. In religion is awesome, or Catholicism or Christianity is awesome news, Kentucky boy is raped after his church hired sex offender pastor God had forgiven. Officials at a Kentucky church said this week that they knew their pastor was a registered violent sex offender when they hired him, and now he's facing more charges for repeatedly raping a 14-year-old member of the congregation. That should be all I have to read. Shouldn't it? Shouldn't I have to just read that and say, oh, that's some bullshit? Good job, God. Down with the G-O-D. Officials at a Kentucky church said this week that they knew their pastor was a registered violent sex offender when they hired him, and now he's facing more charges for repeatedly raping a 14-year-old member of the congregation. The Gallatin Police Department said in a statement this week that 46-year-old pastor Royal Neil Yoakum had been arrested Monday on charges of aggravated statutory rape, sexual battery by an authority figure, statutory rape by an authority figure, and fugitive from justice. Yoakum is accused of sexually assaulting a 14-year-old boy inside New Gospel Outreach Church in Scottsville, Kentucky, and once at his home in Gallatin, Tennessee. The pastor had been required to register as a violent sex offender after being found guilty in 2005 of abusing an 8-year-old boy in Kentucky. If a convicted sex offender has a secondary address, or if they spend a certain amount of time a month in the state, they have to register here, a statement from Gallatin Police Department spokesperson Bill Stormont explained. So his primary residence is in Kentucky, but the Gallatin residence is considered his secondary address. New Gospel Outreach Church interim pastor Stephen Bratcher told WZTV that he was shocked to hear of the allegations, even though church leaders knew Yoakum was a registered sex offender when they hired him. Yoakum damn near killed him. Bratcher asserted that the church had determined that the previous allegation of sexual assaults were false. Kentucky State Police was contacted. Kentucky Attorney General's office was contacted. Bratcher said, about the legality. And the troopers over at the Bowling Green Post, said that they contacted the sex offenders branch, and they said there's nothing illegal about it. He added that he was, quote, not in a position to judge anyone, except the one that's going to be working with fucking kids. Except that. Yeah. We're firm believers, this is quote, we're firm believers in the Bible, so if God's forgiven you, then we're in no position to treat you otherwise, end quote. There you have it. There you have it. There you have it. From the lips of a preacher himself. We are firm believers in the Bible, so if God's forgiven you, then we're in no position to treat you otherwise. God forgives violent rapists of children and then tells his followers to not treat them differently. Got to give one up for the GOD. Got to give it up. And look, I didn't misrepresent anything. I didn't misrepresent the quotes. For all the religious people out there that are going to be upset, this is your guy. This is one of yours talking. Oh, well, that's not all religion. Well, where does the line get drawn? The line gets drawn at, oh, well, I bet you anybody that says, well, you can't lump in religion with all the crazy I say, well, hold on a second. Then who draws the line? You? Wouldn't it be, just the best kind of convenient if the line just so happens to get drawn at the crackpots who say crazy and do crazy things and outlandish and commit heinous crimes? Would it not be convenient that, you can't condemn all of Catholicism because there were serial rapists of children or serial rapers of children that were ushered around by the church and church groups and the Vatican, so that the allegations of child rape or serial child rape didn't percolate to the top and result in some unnecessary things. Just because that happened, those are the bad people. We don't listen to them. That's not to represent. Well, where's the line get drawn then? Here's your guy saying essentially God forgives fucking violent child rapists and tells us to, again, expose them to children and allow them to violently rape a 14-year-old multiple times. That's what he said. That's your guy. This is your guy. He does a mouthpiece for you. That's what he said. All right. The ball's in your court now, GOD. You forgiven violent serial child rapists? You forgiven them? And saying, thou shalt hire serial violent child rapists and place them in front of the congregation every Sunday and leave them alone with the altar boys. Don't ask questions. Make sure they're nubile. In front of the nubile, shaved altar boys with high thresholds of pain, shall you place the registered violent sex offender and leave him alone with said nubile, shaved, high threshold of pain children for a period no less than 1 fortnight. Praise be to the GOD. All right, let's bring it home. Get your shit together, religion. Another great edition of The Lefty Show. I thank you all for joining. I had a great time putting on the show. I hope you had a great time listening. Thank you to everybody for watching, liking, favoriting, and subscribing on YouTube. YouTube.com/LeftyOX is where you can go to find the show in its YouTube formation. If you want to follow me on Twitter, stay up to date on all the latest and greatest Lefty Show news, as well as my musings in between shows, you can do so. Just head on over to Twitter.com/Lefty643 or just at Lefty643. Thank you to everybody for sharing the show. Thank you all very much. Sharing the show with friends, family, and coworkers. Easier to do now that we've got an RSS feed. Just head on over to leftyshow.podbean.com, or if you're on Android, hop on your favorite podcasting app, search The Lefty Show, or you want to help us climb the comedy charts, head on over to iTunes, search The Lefty Show, find us there, click subscribe up, download all the episodes at your leisure. Great time having on iTunes, The Lefty Show. Thank you everybody for donating. I'm raising.com/643 Productions. Anyway, guys, that's my time. I got to get out of here. Thank you for joining. I hope you enjoyed. I'll catch you next time. I'm out. Bye.
I don't give a fuck what you think, bitch.